Hello, beautiful people. Hello, beautiful darlings. Welcome to my channel. My name is Paballo Seipei. Guys, I am baking red velvet cupcakes. So while I am baking, I just thought, let me just film this thing because I'm supposed to upload. It's such a special day today. So we are reviewing When Hope Whispers by Zoleka Mandela. You know, for the longest time, I've always wanted this book, and it wasn't nowhere to be found. It was always sold out, and there was a time when I went to bargain books, and the book was there. I didn't have money. I was so disappointed for the longest time, guys. And then eventually, I saw it on Take a Lot, and I spent my last money to buy this book. But I didn't read it immediately after it came at home. Maybe because I was distracted by other things. But as soon as I read this book, I fell in love with it. So we are reviewing it today. I'm excited. I'm quite disappointed because the aim was to do red velvet cupcakes, and looks like my red velvet cupcakes are chocolate cakes. So yeah, we have a new member in the family. Say hello, Bronze. Hello, say hello. My name is Bronze. They call me Bronzy. Hello, Bronze. Hello, hello. Hello. I know what you're thinking. You are saying, oh my God, she cut her hair. Yes, I did. I cut my hair. You know why? Because I am celebrating all the cancer survivors today. I am also commemorating those who have sadly passed from the disease cancer, and also vowing and sending shout outs to those who are surviving this thing, who are still going through this journey. It's not easy, but I hope that you will survive and tell us your story. Cancer is no longer a taboo. It can affect anyone and everyone, from young to old, black to white, healthy to unhealthy. It really doesn't matter. What we have to do is to just constantly check ourselves, especially women. We must check our breasts and do pap smear, and just to do those regular checkups to make sure that we are okay. And if we have it, just find it at an early stage where it can be dealt with. My uncle died from lung cancer, and I was young at the time, but witnessing him going through that pain and that struggle was just too much to handle, too much to witness, too much to bear, actually, because you could see him feeling the pain. My mom's friend also died from breast cancer, and at the time it was quite taboo to talk about these things. But right now, there's so many facilities and so many people who are willing to help us. So let's just constantly check ourselves now and then, so that we get on the safer side of the health department. I would also like to send a huge shout out to my husband's niece, Lesedi Monama. She survived cancer, and cancer attacked her at a very young age. When my husband tells me, she was a toddler, and she's now a beautiful grown woman. And I just want to say that we celebrate you today because you are proof that cancer can be beaten and you can survive it with the right support and the right people by your side. So I can imagine it wasn't easy for you and your parents, but we are happy to have you still with us today, looking as beautiful as you always do. So yeah, shout out. So like I have changed into my Zoleka Mandela regalia. If you know Zoleka Mandela, you know exactly what I mean. You know she's in love with the African print and things that go together. So I just had to. More especially because today it is her birthday, her 40th birthday, and what better way to celebrate her birthday than this, huh? As we are reviewing Zoleka Mandela's book today, I just want to put it out there, guys. Zoleka Mandela is following me on Instagram, okay, because I am a super fan and I stalk her and I binge watch her Instagram posts and just give her likes like that. So yeah, she follows me and I'm super excited about it, actually. I first saw Zoleka Mandela on 3 Talk with Anele. I don't know if you know or remember that show. She had an interview there and I was like, who's this girl? And when I saw her interview and I followed her on Instagram immediately, checked her posts and the way in which she spoke about her book and her mannerism, she was so ladylike. I was like, wow, I like this girl. And I didn't know she was old, actually. She looks my age. And I followed her. I binge watched her posts and I fell in love with her and her honesty. She just puts out her life into the world, and whether or not you judge her, it's up to you. But in most cases, she inspires a lot of people. So I was like, I really need to get her book. And it took me so long, as I said before, but I finally got the book and I'm super excited to review it for you today. Other than when I was pregnant or breastfeeding, I craved my drugs as much as I craved whatever man I was dating. Being in a relationship made me feel that I mattered to someone, that I was special. Sex made me feel better about myself, just as cocaine did, and it continued in a cycle. The relationships doomed to failure by the drugs and alcohol, which we thought kept us together, but which actually tore us apart. The intense and passionate sexual encounters that followed violent and vulgar fights. The risks I was taking then have me wondering just how the heck I was lucky enough to have survived it all. For as long as I could remember though, I had been walking around with an emptiness inside me, so big that no man, drink or drug could fill it. So that was one of the parts I liked in the book, when she was telling us that she had done drugs, she was doing alcohol, she was being promiscuous, and through it all, she was empty inside. Well, whatever she was doing didn't fill the void that was inside. And the reason she had those things, it's because she was abused from a really young age, from the age of 8 to 14 years, by the adults in her life, the trusted people in her life. And as a result, she became so rebellious, troublesome, and very impulsive, especially with drugs, alcohol, and Zoleka started drinking at the age of 9. By 13, she was smoking weed, and even though it made her paranoid, those situations she put herself in didn't scare her enough to stop using drugs. She was so stubborn. So she smoked drugs, and by 15 she was engaging in sexual activities, and at that young age she believed that giving a boy sex meant that, you know, the love would be strong, and that it was a permanent bond. Well, most women feel that, sex um, is everything in a relationship, and I guess at that young age, it was really everything. So she dated a bit of older guys because the younger ones were not in her league. And by 16 years old, she fell pregnant. And when she fell, now I'm starting to think that she was she on cocaine at the time at 16. I can't remember when she started to smoke cocaine, but I remember that, like that passage I just read, that only when she was pregnant and when she was breastfeeding she didn't take drugs and alcohol. But when did she start to smoke cocaine? It must have been around that time. As time went by, obviously the drug and alcohol intake became extremely bad, that there was a day when she says she had this she was trying this cocaine, and it felt like it didn't do anything. She got to her house and she smoked a lot of cigarettes, and she was drinking, I think it was gin, if I remember well. So she drank the alcohol and she also smoked. So it got to a point where she was in her room and she was in a, she describes it as an induced psychotic episode where she saw a shade that had told her to commit suicide by burning herself, and she she bent the carpet and was out. Her brother came and the brother took her out of the room because it was burning. She also says that she could feel the hot flames around her, but she couldn't do anything. She was just in a trance. And as her brother describes it to her, her eyes had rolled at the back and it was just white, and she was just moving like this, in a trance. And she tried to commit suicide. And the kids were there in the house. She was admitted to the hospital for depression, obviously, after that incident. And when she was in the hospital, a week later, her daughter died in a car accident. And I can imagine the pain that she felt after losing her daughter, especially at a time when she wanted to commit suicide, but God had other plans. God took the child instead of her. So that was just like a semi wake up call for her. She had a second child then, but at that time she blamed herself so much that she also wanted to die. But the family would always remind her that, you still have a child to live for. In her mind, she wanted to join that one because of Zenani always wanted her attention, but because of drugs and boys and alcohol, she didn't have time for her. So she blamed herself so much for her death that she wanted to join her. But I guess a little bit of hope was realizing what the family was saying about the one who was still alive, Zwelami, who she still had to live for. So she enrolled herself eventually to rehab to start her journey of sobriety. A year later, she was pregnant and she gave birth to a premature baby of about 6 months. And the baby unfortunately passed away because it was too small, and I think okay, the baby couldn't survive. So that was another layer of pain thrown into her, if I may put it that way. So while fixing her life and getting her life together, Zoleka met the love of her life, Theory Bashala. Because of Theory, she calls herself Mrs. Bashala, the housewife of North Riding. Those are her hashtags she always uses. Congolese wife or something like that. But anyways, she's crazy about Mr. Bashala. And when they met, she didn't know that she would be diagnosed with breast cancer. And she says that he came at the time when she would need a strong support system, and he was that strong support system. He attended chemotherapy sessions with her, but before she could attend chemotherapy, she didn't want to go for chemotherapy. For the longest time, for months, I think, she didn't want to go, and eventually she decided to go, and that was another journey to her life of, I don't know how to describe it, life of experiences, good and bad. Right? She was 32 at the time of her diagnosis, and when she this is the part I like. It's like a diary session when she just records everything that went on through her chemotherapy sessions, and I really admire it so much that everything that she experienced, everything that she went through, she jotted it down. Hence there's a book like this, because there's so much information that had happened, and it feels like she's saying dear diary, which is something she likes to say also. So she wrote a lot of experiences, and the way in which she describes the pain of chemotherapy sessions, I promise you, you will cringe. You will literally feel pain as she describes it. When she described the biopsy, I literally felt that pain myself, and I was like, wow, this woman really knows how to put you in that situation, and she really knows how to describe a situation that you too can feel a part of. The part of the mastectomy and the biopsy and the injections, the pills, everything she had experienced was so beautifully described, I have to say. And she really loved Fanta. I can't believe she finished Fanta grape every time after a chemotherapy session. It was so hilarious. But I really admire every detail she shared with us in the book. It's quite, it makes you feel so attached to her and the book. Hence, when I was in the last page and realized that I was just finishing the book, I was in disbelief, because I was waiting for more, and I feel like there should be a part 2 or something, actually. Zoleka had 16 chemotherapy sessions, which lasted for 6 months, and that 6 months she felt so attached to the chemotherapy that when it was almost ending, she didn't know what she was going to do on Wednesdays, because she knew that Wednesdays were dedicated to chemotherapies. And as someone who gets really attached, this must have been one of the most difficult things for her. Although it feels like, are you kidding me? You still want to go to chemotherapy? But yeah, she was kind of attached maybe to the people and the support around it. And I have to add that her grandmother, Zoleka Mandela, was always with her in the chemotherapy sessions. Even Mr. Bashala, and most chemotherapy sessions with her aunt. She mentioned that her relationship with her mom was not in good conditions. So her mom only went once, and her father also went once. But the support system was her aunt, her husband, and her grandmother. Even her friends, her other close friends that she mentions in the book, I forgot their names, but they played a really important part in her chemotherapy sessions. And through that, I just realized that support system is really, really important in whatever. And I was reminded of my aunt. She's one of the people who would support you. She'd literally go with you to every chemotherapy session, and I thought that was so beautiful, because family and friend support system is so important in everyone's life. There's so many things that happen in this book, and I don't know if I've said enough or if I said more than enough, but I really enjoyed this book. I loved it so much. It felt like a diary session, and it didn't take me long to finish it. You can also finish it in 3 days too, if you are really quick and if you're really dedicated. But it's really quite an awesome book. One of the books I really appreciate, and I really love the title When Hope Whispers, which she explains it at the end of the book, and how she would become an inspiration and motivation to other women who are facing similar situations, and her story would become a healing aid in other people's lives. And I really appreciate it so much. It's a great book, an awesome book, well written, and I can every time I read the book, I could imagine her telling me the story. It's that good. I think I'm going to end my video here. Thank you so much for watching. I really love this book. See you on the next video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, so that you and I can talk about these and more books. So, bye.